We're now sitting at 10 past 8 on this Friday, and that means it's time to talk business. And for that, we welcome in Mike Eppel, our business editor. First of all, Mike, how's your wife feeling? I know you said she was a little under the weather.
Yeah, she's doing okay. We are actually dealing with a COVID-19. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough too. It's not that. But she has been diagnosed as positive with it.
No.
She's had it for the better part of 2 weeks.
I'm so sorry.
And is on the mend. It's been a mild case, kind of like a typical flu. What's been frustrating though is that it sort of comes and goes. She'll feel fine for a couple of hours, and then all of a sudden it'll kind of hit her again. So we're kind of waiting for the multiple days of symptom-free, because that's when the lockdown of our household can be lifted by the local health officials. At least we got tested. That was the biggest frustration.
Right. Was that difficult to get the testing done?
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, she had to push for it, and that was through a few phone calls along the way. Eventually got done, and sure enough, it was a positive diagnosis. All of the symptoms were there, but it seems like there's a lot of different symptoms. She never had like the loss of smell or sensory issues that some people have experienced. Chris Cuomo on CNN's sweating bullets with his diagnosis. It varies, so that's been interesting as well.
Okay, I'm so
we're fine.
I'm
we're
so
fine.
sorry.
We're getting okay.
Thank you for sharing with that with us, Mike. I know that's really tough. Okay, so before I let you go, let's talk a little bit about the markets. We're seeing a surge. Why is that?
Well, okay, so last night a headline crossed the wires, the business wires. It said Gilead Science had a successful trial of this antiviral called remdesivir. And now it was a drug that was used for SARS and MERS, and it's already in the pipeline, so to speak. It doesn't need reapproval by the regulators. It was a very small test case out of Chicago, 125 patients who apparently showed improvement. They're saying, look, slow down. You need a lot more than just this small indication. But you see a headline where it's like, oh, positive results from an antiviral, markets go up. And then you got Trump talking about restarting the U.S. economy. Europe's doing that. Boeing company is going to restart some lines next week on plane production. And yet I just saw a headline about, Canada and the U.S. agreeing to keep the border closed for another 30 days. It's, it's totally reactionary at this point. Mm-hmm. But yeah, stocks are surging in the early trading because they kind of see a light at the end of the tunnel, whenever that end of the tunnel actually is.
Right. Let's talk oil. When's the last time that we've seen it this low?
2002. We're hitting these multi-year lows, and it's the U.S. benchmark that's the problem today, down below $18 a barrel U.S. Canadian crude's around $5. The oil and gas industry is calling on the feds, cut or at least hold the carbon tax where it is, maybe get some revenue from that back to the energy industry, freeze regulations, just take some pressure off the industry. The environmental groups are saying, oh, you're using a pandemic as an excuse to get the feds to do what they've didn't want to do before. So we're going to hear a lot of that back and forth. But every sector's been helped, and the energy sector's been kind of left out so far. So you got to figure maybe at some point there's some cash coming in there. I will say that the energy stocks are up today, and maybe that's what they're betting on in the early trade.
Okay. We're going to leave it there for today, Mike, but our thoughts are with you and your family.
Thank you.
Hang in there, okay?
Yep, we will.
Thank you. Monday. All right.
Okay.
You can hear more of Mike Eppel on 660 News, but right now let's take a look at the markets.
This portion of BT is brought to you by 660 News, Calgary's breaking news, weather, and traffic station.